Thank you so much, I love and prominent viewers of the Ben Live. I welcome you once again onto this episode that you are watching right about now. It's about health, and you know, health is wealth, health is beauty, health is everything. If you're healthy, trust me, you have the gold. Yes, you have the gold, you have all the money, you have everything if you're healthy, because if you're not healthy, you'll spend even your little money on treating yourself. But if we talk about these things, it helps you to save your little money such that you don't spend it here in hospitals and all that. Those still doctors would want to work, but anyway, let's first save that little money today and learn about a few things. Especially we're going to be targeting a particular audience, the mothers, the fathers, and also the caretakers. Yes, the caretakers. Now, today I'm not alone. Just like I told you, we're just having the different episodes that are ongoing, and I'm with Dr. Ombeva Malande. Is a pediatrician, a senior consultant under the pediatric infectious diseases, and is also a vaccinologist. Is also a director of the East African Center for Vaccines and Immunization, and being a lecturer at Makerere University. Is going to be taking us through a series of things today, and you can get a notebook and a pen if you're interested and be able to note down a few things. But don't forget, we're being hosted by G1 Hotel along Lubaga Road. You can pass by and be able to experience the good services that they do offer. Don't be there and be like, I take COVID, what to go by you. No, 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 no. Please come through and they'll be able to serve you with no COVID. Yeah, so I'm going to be welcoming my guest on board, Dr. Ombeva Malande, just still to say hello to us, and then eventually we shall go into what we do have today.
Uh, Good afternoon, viewers. And as has been said, I'm so happy to be here. My name is Ombeva, and I'm a pediatrician, pediatric infectious disease senior consultant and specialist, and a vaccinologist as well. So I'm excited to talk about children because basically that's what I do. Yeah, it's my passion.
It's your passion.
It's
You
my
like
passion.
children so much.
And treating children. If I could go do it all over again and go back to school, I'd still become a pediatrician. So
Are you sure? So you'll choose it over and over and
absolutely,
over?
I won't change to
Anything?
engineering, architecture, what? No.
Not even to.
No.
Anyway, that is his passion. I don't know what your
I'll still
passion
be a
is.
pediatrician, yeah.
We're going to have him in a live story to tell us what inspired him to go into pediatrics. But well, tonight our topic is going to be about immunization and child growth monitoring. And this goes so much onto the mothers of how you can grow your child well. Have you gone for the different immunization schedules the way they are, or you just there looking at your baby, you don't know what to do? Have you taken care of the baby the way he or she is supposed to be taken care of? And well, anyway, let us start with the common childhood conditions that we do have apparently in Uganda. Is tufukidde ensonga, doctor.
So when we look at children in general, I mean, you're looking at, when we talk about children, we usually are looking at children who are mainly under 5 years of age. But of course, you could even group in all those who are under 10 years of age if you picked all those in primary school. The commonest problems that we see in children, if you look at the common problems that make children come to hospital and we admit them, then pneumonia remains the biggest, in that list. In fact, pneumonia kills more children than malaria, HIV, and TB combined.
The three of them
combined.
combined?
Pneumonia still kills more children than TB, malaria, and HIV combined. So pneumonia is really a big enemy of childhood. And pneumonia is a chest disease. Children usually get cough, they get difficult in breathing. You see that child who is, breathing very fast and refusing or failing to feed. Very sick child, they come to hospital, they are put on oxygen. Those are the ones who have pneumonia. So it's the biggest enemy of children. And you've even seen with COVID, even in adults, the biggest killer in COVID is pneumonia. So pneumonia is a big, big, big problem of childhood. After pneumonia, then of course, the second one is diarrhea. Diarrheal diseases are the second biggest problem in childhood. And then and pneumonia and diarrhea always, go together. A child either has diarrhea in the hospital or has pneumonia. And then after that is malaria, which is the third one. It's a fairly common disease and problematic disease. And after that, then you have measles. Measles is still common, you know. Despite us having a vaccine for very long, measles still remains a very big problem in most of our children. And long time ago, measles was actually so bad that every child who survived measles was called born again. In fact, parents were not allowed to count their babies until after the measles outbreak, because you never know how many will survive. So there would always be waves of outbreaks every year. So once the wave comes this year and your kids go through it, then they ask you how many kids you have. Say, I have 3. But if the kids have not gone through measles, you would not count and say, I have 5, because nobody ever knew who will survive. That's how bad measles was. So measles is the other disease of children. And then after that, the other one, of course, we know they are malnutrition. Malnutrition is where children either get kwashiorkor or marasmus, they get a big swollen tummy, hair that is going off the head, very sparse. So those are the 5 commonest problems that we see in our children, the older children. The ones which I don't know that I should talk about, the newborns, the neonates, the newborns, those children who have just been born, who are less than a month old. Them, their problems are different. Their problems are not like the ones for these older kids. For them, their problems are either prematurity, which means prematurity is that a child who was born before their days. So let's say a mother gives birth at 7 months of pregnancy, 8 months of pregnancy. That's a common problem in those kids, because it makes them get to the nursery and be admitted very long. And then secondly is a disease that makes kids get yellow skin, yellow eyes. Young babies, you've seen mothers trying to put a baby on the sun, saying the doctor has told us to expose this baby on the sun for this number of days. That disease is called jaundice. It's a very common problem in babies who are under 1 month of age. Then another problem is infections. Babies who are under 1 month of age do get temperatures, high fevers, and they get infection, and they need to be admitted, and they put on them a cannula. So blood infections are also quite common in the younger babies. And then another one is they also get some form of difficulty in breathing. A pneumonia of very young babies is called acute respiratory distress. But only occurs specifically in that category of the younger babies under 1 month of age. Apart from that, of course, then there are problems with feeding, problems with the cold, problems, you know, because they're learning how to breastfeed, so yeah, low sugar problems. But those usually eventually get overcome. So largely those are the bigger problems in children.
And doctor, talking of children, which age bracket should we look at if you talk of children?
So when we are looking at children, now, for what we treat as pediatricians, we treat all children under 14 years of age. That's the pediatric population. Except for some conditions. There are conditions like children who had sickle cell, children who have had diabetes, children who have had asthma. Those ones we follow them up to 18 years of age. But these other children in general, who are not asthmatics, not hypertensive, not sicklers, not diabetic, not what, those ones under 14 years of age, that's the category of children that we treat. But in terms of looking at the ones that are very sickly and get a lot of problems, then children under 5 years are really the bigger group where we focus on.
Okay, you've talked of amongst the conditions that children have, there is also hypertension. Do you have children that usually have hypertension?
Yes, there are children who get hypertension, yeah. Especially the children who either have diabetes or children who have problems with their kidneys. So children who get kidney problems, they tend to get, you find they are swollen, the face, swollen legs. You find a child who is very, very puffy, with a lot of fluid around either their heart and the kidneys. Those children with kidney problems tend to have very high blood pressure. So it does occur.
Okay, all along we thought it's only in adults, but
and these days with the, now we are having a lot of children, even in high schools, who are very big, children who have very big obesity and very big body size. These days we feed our children on junk, everyday chips, KFC, all these things. So you find kids who are really big, a child who is 50 kilos and is not yet even 10 years of age, 50 kilos, 60 kilos, those ones tend to get, because it's those obesity and overweight. Those are the things that bring high blood pressure.
High blood pressure.
And one day we went to a school in Kampala here with a colleague of mine to just check blood pressures of children, school-going high school kids. And we find quite a number of them. About 1 out of every 4 kids have their pressures are high. I mean, I'm not talking about white coat hypertension, you know, where when the kids see a doctor, most of them get anxious and their pressure goes up. No, I'm talking about that which when we go without the clinical codes and measure their pressures.
Okay, and we're asking, he's mentioned a number of conditions, the pneumonias, TBs, malaria, name it, yeah? But then we're asking, what is causing most of all these conditions remain prevalent apparently here in Uganda?
So one of the things that has affected our situation and making some of these conditions to be so prevalent and to continue to really occur in our setting are, maybe I can group them in 3 or 4 groups. One is inadequate breastfeeding.
That is number one.
Yeah.
It's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't breastfeed your children enough and adequately, they'll get malnutrition.
Inadequate breastfeeding.
Malnourished children are likely to get a lot of chest infections, are likely to get a lot of diarrhea, and they are likely to get a lot of pneumonias. And what I mean by inadequate breastfeeding is that in that group I include early weaning, where mothers stop a child taking breast milk by around 2-3 months, or begin putting in other feeds more than the breast milk. So you find a 2-month-old child is on cow milk, is on what? And you know the cow milk is a bit harder for our babies to digest, because our babies are not calves, they are babies. And the milk of the cow has a lot of hard proteins to digest. So you give a baby who is 2 months old cow milk only, the baby cannot get enough nutrients out of that, because digesting that is a problem. So when they won't digest it well, because their stomachs cannot break it down well, it ends up coming out as diarrhea. The little they pick out of that, it's not adequate enough to build their bodies. Breast milk is a bit softer and gentle.
Okay.
So it has you know, there are 2 main proteins, whey and casein. So it has lesser of the animal hard to digest fats. And in the process, if you give those ones to a young baby, the young baby won't manage, their stomachs are not so strong. So early weaning makes our children get diarrheas and get malnutrition. And then the other thing is that some of our mothers don't want to take their children for immunization.
Oh, that's a big
issue. If you don't vaccinate your child, you will have measles, you will have pneumonia, you'll have diarrhea. You know, these days we have vaccines for diarrhea, vaccines for pneumonia.
Yes, we
But
do.
if you don't take your kids for vaccination, you'll end up in problems.
Those are the main ones. Because we usually, just like I told you earlier, that we...
And malnutrition, of course, is another problem.
Okay, malnutrition, poor
that makes our kids
breastfeeding.
to be prone to these diseases, yeah. And HIV has also made our kids prone to this. So we have a big issues with HIV and big issues with malnutrition, making our children have a weaker immune system and therefore be prone to this infection.
Okay, and then we always ask that how best can we eradicate all these kinds of conditions? That's if it's where possible to have them eradicated. But then some of us, just like I told you, we usually want to find someone to blame, yeah? And we've always wanted to blame the government. Government tefudeyo ku baana. Government tekoze kimala kufa ku health y'abaana. But then just like some of the things that doctor has mentioned, byekubira nnyo tebirina ku government. Nutrition is home-based. Breastfeeding, home-based. Most of the things are like home-based. But now, well, doctor, what best can be done to... If they cannot be completely eradicated, how can they at least be subsidized, like that the number of children that suffer these kinds of conditions are minimal, and they don't even end up dying?
Yeah, so there are some things we can do in terms of strategies that mothers and governments can put together to make sure that our babies at least reach the 5th birthday. You know, because not so many of them, a significant number of our babies don't reach their 5th birthday.
Yeah.
If you want our babies to reach the 5th birthday, one is monitoring their growth well. Their parents, where they come to hospital, you see her with their baby, you ask her, Mommy, when is the last time you weighed the child? She has no idea. What was the last weight? She doesn't know the last time they weighed. When did your child, get out the first tooth? So information is not there. Worse if you ask the father. Some fathers don't even know the names of the kids, let alone know their weight and birthdays. But then what's the child's birthday? He says, hey, msawa kubuza, mtemu. Or one time they say June 16th, then the child says, no, siyange, eoyagundi. So the kid says, no, that is for my sister's birthday, it's not mine. So fathers are even a bigger problem. So the mothers,
maybe can say ask the maid.
The maid may actually know the birthday. That's true. Because the father completely has no idea. And there are very many, you ask what's the child's problem, and he says, calls the maid, Django, what was the child's problem? So has brought the child to hospital but doesn't remember. So the parents are not involved in monitoring the growth of their kids. And on that vaccination card, behind the vaccination card, there is a chart where the doctors, every time you go to take the child for immunization, they're supposed to chart the weight. So we need to be able to monitor the growth of our kids, because that will give us information on whether the child is attaining the targets that we need or not. You set the targets and you attain them. So growth monitoring is an important thing.
Another thing that, before we leave growth monitoring, why is it important? What is that sole reason of monitoring the growth of the child?
So that you see if the child has stagnated.
Okay.
If today your child was 6 kilos, you come back after a month, the child is 5 kilos. Or was stuck at 6. You come back after 2 months, the child is stuck at 6. Or is only 6.1. There is a problem. Because the child should be adding the weight. A child after birth should be able to add at least 30 to 50 grams every day. So that's something close to about 30 times 3, something close to about 600 to 900 grams, 20 to 30, 600 to 900 grams every month. If the child doesn't add that kind of weight per month for the first 3 months of life, and then about a kilo progressive, then you know that the child is not growing well. But if you cannot monitor, you would not know. The kid will look big. I say, hey, my child looks big. But then when you put on a scale, you find, no,
it's not equivalent.
There's something missing. Yeah. So that is, growth monitoring is very important. And parents have to actively monitor the growth of their kids. The second thing is breastfeeding. At least try your best to keep your child on the breast alone for the first 6 months of life. And if a mother cannot keep on the breast alone, for all sorts of reasons, some mothers need to go to work, some mothers need to be able to, attend to other things, or things like those, or maybe the mother was sick or what, then get relevant supplementary feeds for the child. So what we supplement with most of the time is formula milk. And there are very many different types of formulas. There is NAN, there is Cow and Gate, there is SMA, there is Leptomil, there are very many types. There is Honsley and the others. But the most important thing is that at least the formula is the closest you can get to what is in the breast. It can never replace the breast milk. Nothing can ever replace breast milk. It's completely impossible for scientists to make breast milk. But the most important thing is, at least, let's make sure that the child has a supplement. But at least 6 months, the first 6 months, let's ensure that the children are getting breastfeeding. And then another one is the immunization.
Okay.
Take the child to immunization. The child should be immunized at birth, at 6 weeks, at 10 weeks, at 14 weeks, and then at 6 months, and then at 9 months, and then at 18 months. So let's take our children for immunization. So you do growth monitoring, you do breastfeeding, you do immunization, and if they get diarrhea, most mothers now know how they can make ORS at home, oral rehydration salts, by mixing some salt and sugar and giving the child to drink. Or you just go to the drug shop near and say you want ORS. It's very cheap. Mothers call it Oros, others call it Daros. It is available in the pharmacies. Like a small sachet like this, which you dissolve in a liter of water, may go for about 1,000 or 500 shillings. It's very important. Mix it in a liter of water and just feed the child. As much as the child wants to drink, give. Make sure the child is hydrated if they have diarrhea. So it's very important for a child who has loose stool and watery diarrhea to give that. So those are important things: growth monitoring, rehydration, using oral rehydration salts like ORS, and then immunization, and then breastfeeding. And then there are a few other things which are important, like educating our girl child. We need to educate our mothers because they're important in protecting the fabric of the community. Family planning. You again don't just give birth like a rabbit. I mean, it's not about filling the country. The country, okay, country is big. The country is big. Uganda has very many idle land. If you drive to Arua, you'll see a lot of sparse
What
land.
does the Bible say?
But that doesn't mean it's your land. The Bible?
People want to emphasize muzuke muzale mwale, multiply and multiply.
Does the Bible say that?
No. That you multiply.
The Bible doesn't. Why do people just pick that particular part of what God told Adam, but they don't learn about the part where God told Adam, take care of these things? Taking care of the things includes giving birth responsibly. Okay, fine. I can understand.
We produce for the government.
Yeah, but then who is government? We are the government. We are the ones who vote. So we produce for ourselves. But then more important is this. Give birth to the number of children that you can raise. God gave you how many fingers? 10. Do you have power to raise kids with both your hands or one hand? If you think you can be able to do your things, then raise at least, don't go beyond 5. He could have given you a finger of 20. I know, in this East Africa, Ugandan women are the most fertile. Every Ugandan woman in her lifetime gives birth to about 7 kids or 8. A Kenyan woman gives birth to about 4 or 5. A Rwandese woman gives birth to around 6. So Uganda is the most fertile country in East Africa. But that's why you'll find the Uganda almost has the same population as Kenya. Yet Kenya has a very big land mass.
Compared to Uganda?
Yeah. By far. We don't have to fill the country.
Manpower?
No. Space, even spacing. If a mother gets pregnant and they have a child who is less than 2 years of age, that child becomes at risk of malnutrition. But as soon as the mother gives birth and is focusing on the new baby, the other child gets neglected. That's why we try to tell mothers, try and ensure that at least there is good spacing. And it's very easy to know. You give birth to your child, take care of the child. The day you can send this child with a remote, take this remote to your dad, and the child takes the remote and takes, you can get pregnant that night. The child will have been at least 1.5 years of age or 2. So add on the other 9 months of the pregnancy, you will be, at least the children will be 2.5 years.
Yeah, which is a good time.
Yeah. So we need to really emphasize family planning or child spacing, empower our female and educate them. Then the government needs to provide fresh water and provide food security and fuel, which they can use to cook the food. I think those are the strategies that we can use to improve survival of our children.
Okay, I believe partly those are some of the strategies, but you realize if you go down into people's homes, or maybe Dr. Phil in a hospital setting, you usually see mothers coming with their babies. And then you look at the baby and you look at the mother, then you're asking, is really this child yours? The mother is looking okay, like you expect her to have a healthy baby, and then the baby is the other way around.
Thank you so much. That's the very reason why I'm saying, first of all, have few kids you can take care of. Don't have so many kids. If you can raise one, have one. You don't have to finish all the names in your chika. No. Naming kids. Have one child. Space the kids. Have 2. You don't want you're in the hospital, you have a child who is sick, and you have another 4 kids there because you have nobody to take care of them at home. So when we admit one mother, we literally admit the whole family of 7. For what reason? And with an absent father who is not there, who is generating another 6 elsewhere. The most important thing is, let's have the number of kids you can raise. Space your children, so that your child can be able to carry the siblings that follows them. when you are busy, they can hold the sibling for you.
Yeah. Ate abami shaka bebereremu. I think I should even speak this in Uganda.
Yeah.
Abami should be really very responsible. Dr. Agambye, these ones are in the hospital for you out there generating manufacturing other children.
Anti wagambye Bible yakola ki?
Bazuke bazale bale. I think they should stop that. Yeah. But if men are actively involved into taking care of the children and the family, baba jakubera busy bajafuna obudde bugenda ku manufacturing abalala. So let us be equally involved in
no innocent no ngamba nti doctor nze innocent bana bange bakola kine bwenzara 10 sente weziri biki. But the thing is, are you present in their lives? It's not just saying that I have money so I can have one wife there and with the kids, or I can have 20, 30 kids. Okay, fine. I have money, I have resources, they can raise them. I agree with that. But the question I ask, do you have enough hours in your 24 hours to be there for them?
Let me ask
because we need the parents to be present in the kids' lives as well. You need to know the names of your kids. You need to know their birthdays.
Doctor Chimutabula obwongo. Birthday n'amanya.
No, because I'm a pediatrician, and all I do is that I see fathers come in and they don't even know the names of their own kids and their birthdays.
Wow.
I'm not like giving a story. This is real.
Okay, doctor, being that you've been in that field for some time, why is it that we don't usually see men bringing children to the hospital?
And that's another thing, isn't it? We need male involvement. I think the men, we've gotten a bit too busy in building the nation, and we've forgotten to build the homes as well. I think, okay, I agree, it's good to support the president to build the nation, but let's also
build our families.
Let's be present. I don't think the children fall sick every day, so we should try and squeeze through time and at least come for one of the antenatal visits, or at least come for one of the modern men. Now I'm seeing a bit of an increasing number of men coming into hospital, but still at around maybe 30%.
20.
Yeah, but anyway, a tail is meat, so the 30 is not bad, but we can do better. Eh? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Dear viewers, you're still watching the Ben Live.
The younger men, about 30-40% are coming. The older ones don't come at all.
What's wrong with them?
I think generational change, yeah?
Oh.
The younger men are a bit more
flexible.
Maybe the education is different, so they are more modern now and they are learning to be a bit more present.
So now we're calling out you, the older men, wherever you are, please get involved. It's never too late to make a difference. We need you, please. If the baby is sick, if the baby has a schedule for immunization, take him or her there. You'll still be the father, you will still be the man, you will still be the husband, and you know, the big king or
we're
boss
even
in the
inviting
house.
Men these days to their labor shoots when their mothers, their wives are laboring.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, to kind support and what.
Nebisabinza okwangwa ngomukyala musala wa mulabawo.
Yeah, 2 in 10 are coming. I know a day will come when we have maybe 6 out of 10 men. At least 2 or 3 in 10 are coming.
Anyway, abami tweberere, but then Bobo Leongo Tulaba, you're just a young mom, you're becoming one. Doctors told us in Uganda, fertility rate eriwaggulu, just abamu competitive nazala, but truly fertile, we're tutandika okuzala tuba tutandise, yeah? But some of us, it's our first time, tetumanya ebintu babikola batya, what is supposed to be done and all that, and we mess up so many things. Naye twagala doctor to help us and tell us what is expected of the young mothers immediately after you get your baby. What is expected of you?
So, and this is an important question to ask, because particularly for mothers who are giving birth for the first time, it's usually quite a challenge for them. Not just dealing with the challenge of delivery and the stress and what, but even the whole issue of how do you handle a young baby, you know, how do you feed the baby, the stress and the fatigue. You know, the first 2 months, most mothers hardly sleep. Yeah, as the baby adjusts, and as the mom also adjusts to these new circumstances that she finds herself in. The most important thing that we need to make sure is that, at least for every mother, is to try and make sure that you have good support. And good support may be, I'm one of those people who really encourage the idea of the older mothers, maybe your mom or your grandmom, being available when the daughter gives birth. I think that's a good thing. It's an African thing, but it's a very good thing. That is the one area where I want to say let the husband or the father take care, because the men may not understand the intricacies of handling a baby, because they never really carried a pregnancy in their lives. But the older women, your mother, your auntie, your those ones can be very supportive, because they understand the journey the young mother is going through. So it's good to try and at least make sure that for a week or two. And I like the traditional practice where they used to say when a girl gives birth, they tell her, go and stay with your mother for a month. The thinking is this: most women after giving birth get a lot of stress, what we call a psychosis, puerperal psychosis, the kind of confusion and mental stress that happens in the first 6 weeks after giving birth. And that is, I think, what our traditional people wanted to remove. They removed that stress by making sure that the girl is with her mother or with her auntie, and they offer support, they hold the baby, they give her time to recover, time to steady her head, they teach her how to attach the baby on the breast, how to latch, they teach her how to feed the baby, how to clean the baby, how to bathe the baby, how to keep the baby warm, you know, all those things. And then they cook for her, because this mother needs to be given food so that she can have enough breast milk. I think that support system still needs to be emphasized, whether it be using the aunties or the grandmothers or what.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a system that we need to continue to strengthen.
Embrace, yes.
Yeah, if in the developed countries actually, where the systems are like the mothers or whatever may not be there, they actually have professional people who stay with that mother. They are called doulas. And doulas are professional people who've been trained to take care of a mother. So she comes, she's attached to you, and she will be with you through labor, as you go through the whole labor process, as you give birth, and she will stay with you at least for the first 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Makes sure that everything is okay. She cooks the food, she serves you. They are professional people, trained. Yeah, make sure you've slept. Did you sleep? When you are sleeping and the baby cries, she comes, she gets the baby, changes the diaper, cleans the baby, make sure your clothes are cleaned, you know, your what, food is provided, there's warm water, there's what. That's what they do. And I think for them, it's still the realization that that is required. In our setting, I think our mothers are still very available and they can support younger mothers. Yeah.
Kudos to the mothers out there. Are they mothers-in-laws? In-law? Okay. Bamama.
They are mothers.
Banazala. Okay.
No, I think mothers
They
are just mothers. This
Banazala
in-law thing is it's a bazungu thing. Mothers are mothers.
Okay.
Whether it's the mother from this side or this side.
They are mothers.
In the community, mothers
Okay.
are mothers. Don't you meet them on the road and tell them, Mom, it's not your biological mother, is it?
Okay, the mothers out there, thank you so much for the great work you're doing. Some of us were complaining, but where are the men? Every
Instead
time
of using the word in-law, use in love. Let's call the mothers in love. We love their
Somebody
sons,
supporting that. Okay, the mother in love. We love you so much. You're doing a very wonderful job, but still, like I told you, we're being hosted by G1 Hotel. Please kindly pass by. It's a good place. It's a good hotel with good services. They do catering services. They have a lot of rooms in case you want to host a conference. Is it a wedding? Is it a baby shower, bridal shower? Is it you just want a buffet? Is it just some kind of lunch? What is it exactly? Do you want to propose to someone? This is just the place that you can bring them, and they have the best of their event. Well, and you're watching the Ben ones. Eh?
Oh. I didn't like the proposing zone.
No, I'm saying if someone wants to propose to someone, they can
no, I
come
just wanted
over.
to be sure that the listeners get you well.
Oh, yeah, it's a proposing zone. Please don't hesitate to come by. But we want to thank you so much. Remember, subscription is important to us. Get hold of your phones, wherever you're watching us from, and make it a point to tap the subscription bell, and also be able to hit the notification bell that whenever we live, you'll be able to be a part of us and enjoy the content that we have for you. Well, I'm going to ask Dr. Ombeva Malande to tell us where his hospital is, and I believe some mothers would want to come by, yes, and have good services.
Yeah, so just behind Forest Mall, opposite Legends. So behind Forest Mall in Lugogo, Naguru, there is Legends Rugby Club, and directly opposite there is a healthcare facility there, next to Safari's Kindergarten. The whole place is called Namela Healthcare.
Namera
Namela
Healthcare.
Healthcare. Yeah, inside there we have a very good gynecologist, Dr. Abomgisha, and we also have a very good pediatric practice there. And there's even a general doctor there and a very good lab. And a lot of space for play for the kids, all the way up to the kindergarten side. So you come there and you won't be disappointed at least.
I believe so. You can. Is it okay if you give us your number?
Yeah, my number is 0774 0774 8762 0774 and you can call or send a WhatsApp message. That number is used very commonly by mothers because I'm a pediatrician, so that's all I do.
You don't expect many to call you.
No, they do. The men call, but the mothers call the most because that's my work, dealing with mothers. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Just in a minute, your concluding remarks about this whole thing of child growth and monitoring.
So, my concluding remark is that there is really no business getting pregnant if you have no intention to raise the child well. Use a contraceptive and let other people carry the pregnancy. But if you find that you are pregnant, then put yourself in the right mind to bring up this child in the best way you would have wished to be brought up when you were young. Wow. So that ideal idea that you have of how you would have wished your childhood was the things you wish the parents could have done. Maybe they didn't have enough capacity. I mean, if they were alive and they were there, some of us may not have been there. And what you envision of the kind of childhood you would have wished to have, the kind of places you would have wished to go, that should be what you should provide for your kids. And so let's make the childhood for our kids something enjoyable, something they will look back and remember and say, I learned this. Because as the Swahili say, mtoto mleavyo ndivyo akuavyo. The way you raise your child is the way the child will grow on to be. Because if you do a good foundation, then you have a strong house. Yeah. If you don't repair cracks in the house, you'll end up building a full wall. Sipoziba ufa utajenga ukuta. So let's make sure that we give our children the best foundation possible they can. Take your child for immunization. Take your child for their birthdays. At least know when they were born. And make sure that you can monitor their weight growth.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doctor. I was going to say that Doctor doesn't have any kind words, but those are the best kind words that he can have for you.
So which ones should I have?
Yeah, those are the best kind words. If you're not trying to take care of your baby, yeah, don't engage yourself in getting pregnant. Use a contraceptive, yeah, and let other people that are willing to take care of their children to become pregnant. Yes, that's an interesting one. But then it's been a lovely day, and I want to thank Doctor so much and my entire team, and big thanks to the viewers that make this place a home for us to stay and encouraging us to do this over and over and over again. I remain Gift Nakainga till our next episode. See you.